In this part of the guided journey, we're going to cover resource types and Sling models. As we can see on the current screen, we have our component. When we open up the component, we see our standard fields that we've been using throughout this video. So we have our text field, our text area field, our pathfinder, the date picker, a combo box, and a drop down that has a list of countries. So then when we choose new values for the dialog field, so for example, we'll pick today's date, which is June 27th, and then we'll pick a new country, so we'll pick Australia, and we'll click the check marks, see that the component is updated. Now, what's happening behind the scenes is we're using Sling models to update this component. Looking at the Java class in Eclipse, we can see here we have a class named Hero Sling Model. Notice that it's using an annotation at model, and we're adapting to the resource class. So this is important to note when you want to work with a component that has resource types and you want to capture that within your Sling model. So the most important thing to really understand here is that every field in our dialog corresponds to a data member in this class. And not only that, but then we're using the @inject annotation. So each field here, heading, description, path, start date, show, size, all correspond to the fields in that dialog. Absolutely clear. The data members in the class have to map up with the names of the fields. So in this case, heading text, notice it's heading. So if we look back to the Java, we see heading, description, path, and so forth. If you do not map the name of the data member to the name of the field, it's not going to work. You're not going to successfully inject the value into the Sling model. Next, notice that what we're doing is we're creating a new hero text bean instance here. This is just simply a POJO to store all the data members. So it simply has the name of all the data members and then getter and setter methods. We're setting them right here. So we have set heading text, set description, set path, set date. And then finally, what we're doing here is we're seeing if the checkbox is empty. So if it's empty, then we're saying it's off. If it's set, then we're saying show, which is going to set a value. And then finally, we're going to set the hero text set type, which is the dropdown. Then we have a method called get hero text bean, and it's going to return the data collection, which is the bean. So this is what's passed to the front end and what's written out. So this is how a Sling model works. We're injecting the values from a dialog with the Granite resource types. We're setting a bean with its data members, and then we're going to set it to it's going to be called here in a method called get hero text bean, and it's going to return the POJO that contains all of the values. Looking at the front end HTML code, notice here that we have data sly use hero text object, and then we're pointing to the fully qualified object. So in this case, it's com.am summit core models hero Sling model, which of course is lining up with our Sling model class, which is right here with the @model annotation. Now each data member we want to write out, we have hero text bean, so this is returning the bean, and then we're getting the value of that data field. So heading text, description, path, date, type, and show. And once we run this, it's writing out all of the values as we can see here. So this is essentially how Sling models work. So you can read any of the values from a dialog that contains a Granite resource type on your backend Java and then write it out in an HTML component.